we were supposed to go get a haircut today, Sebastian and myself, but I couldn't because Sebastian's sick. So I have giant hair, and we realized yesterday I kind of have Kenny Rogers hair. And as you all know, as every school child knows, Dolly Parton had she really liked him and he liked her, and it was they had fun. So
he had a crush on Dolly Parton.
Oh, I have forever, man. Oh, look at pictures of Dolly Parton like early in her marriage. She was just a little firecracker. You could see it even then. Plus, she's so talented. She's so smart, and she's a good person. Uh-huh. Anyway, Dolly Parton.
Yes.
Kenny Rogers.
Well,
I should send her a selfie. Send her a thirst trap selfie.
Can I talk?
I have one,
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was like a thing. I had no idea.
He had like a cat on him, and he wanted to show me.
Yeah, but I was lying in bed, so you're looking down, but I'm like, and that's when we were going to the gym all the time. So I was looking a little, a little together there.
Can I show them my shirt?
Oh, sure, of course, absolutely, please.
I got this. Well,
custom
made. Well, just to briefly go over. His family in Missouri are young earth creationists. No, you're going to go, blah, 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 blah. Let me just do it. And they shunned us because of a discussion about birth control that we didn't, it was one sentence. And then there was nothing. And it was like, because we're secular and not religious at all. And it took us like 2 weeks to figure out what was going on. And that's only because I looked at what their church that they go to was, and I was like, honey, she doesn't believe in dinosaurs. About his cousin. So I got this made. It says, I went to Missouri and all I got was shunned, and there's a dinosaur.
Yeah, it's very clever. That was her idea, 100%.
Well, no, you came up with it.
What? I did?
Yeah, and I was like, ha ha ha, I should get that on a shirt, and then I did.
It's just crazy. It's crazy. So, do you want to jump in? If I'm looking a little windblown, it's because we have 2 trees that came in, and I had to dig holes for them before the sun went down. So instead of being fresh as a daisy, I'm somewhat hole dug in.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, let's do wrist check.
Oh, shoot. I'm wearing the same. I'm going to change my watch for wrist check.
Sure she is. Your Omega is on the watch bench.
They saw that recently.
Well, I don't know what else you're going to wear.
Oh.
You put it on your 6105.
I don't know.
How about your Baby G?
What? I'll put on what I want.
Including nothing. Mm-hmm. Okay, who's going first?
You can.
Oh, gosh. Okay. I'm wearing my absolute favorite of the 7548s. This is the JDM 7548 7000C. So it's got the orange dial and the orange chapter ring. Kanji, English day wheel, so kanji's not up. And it's got, it also has flat gold hands and a gold insert. And this is just, this one especially, there's just something about this watch. And when I first saw it, there we go. And when I first saw it, when it first came in, I was just instant love. And it was for Ryan Walters. I actually got it for him. I sourced it for him from Japan. And it got here. And I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. And I told him that. I'm like, this is a great watch, man. I did a good job. You should really love this watch. And I shipped it off to him. And I don't know why. I feel kind of bad, actually. He offered to send it back to me because I liked it so much. And he seemed quite sincere. But we did a deal, and I got it back. It's my favorite 7548 model, and this is the nicest 7548 for my purposes that I've ever personally seen.
Okay, here's the watch that I was totally, oh shoot, wearing in the main part of the video that's totally been sized for me.
I love that watch, though.
Oh, I know.
It drives me crazy that nobody appreciates that watch. It's high quality. Not only is this a Glycine, it's a custom one for Bayer, which is a very famous, it's the oldest watch shop in Switzerland, and this was custom made for them. It's a beautiful ETA movement. I think it's a 2783, which is the same as like a Tudor Prince diver, or similar to it anyway. It's just so pretty, and it's got this really super clean post-war design, and of course the hooded lug case. It's a beautiful watch, and it drives me crazy that I can't educate folks. Yeah, look at this. I even have on an NOS vintage, old from back in the day bracelet with the correct thing. It's just, what a watch.
And it's for sale on the website.
It is for sale on the website. It's just, I'm really proud of that. This watch I got in pieces, oh my God, 10, 12 years ago, maybe even longer. And then a few years ago, on a whim, it came to me in pieces. I restored it, and there it is. I like it. Okay, folks, that's that.
Well, that was a great watch that I picked.
Well, I look forward to finding out what that watch might be. I have no idea. She only has like 3 or 4 watches, and she really only wears the one.
Yes.
Which is, I have to say, it's a little gratifying, seeing as I built that for her. 100%.
Okay, well, can I get going?
Yes.
Okay, so these two are about lube or something.
Lube.
Yeah. CMB. I have seen the guy with the vintage digital watch channel on YouTube use marine grease to bring back tired rubber straps, and it appeared to work very well. Lovely job on the 6105. By the way, your loom restoration is pure magic.
Yeah, well, thank you about the loom restoration. It was, it's a good result, which I was really, really happy about, because every single time you start down that path of that kind of a job, especially as it was, the dial was as rough as it was, you just never know what you're going to get, because you get a lot of water on a dial, and it can loosen up you can loosen up all of the lettering, because the lettering is printed right on top of the black dial. You can start, if you're not super careful, it's really easy to put haze or scratch marks on the tops of the markers. You just have to be just incredibly careful, and it takes a long time. I think it was conservatively, it's about 20 minutes a marker. And I'm counting the 12 marker as 2 different ones. So it's a lot of work. So it's not just chemicals, but it's like, darn. I wish there was a one size fits all, but I'm getting there. Oh, what was the first part of his diddly?
Oh, it's about
marine grease.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm going to look up marine grease, and I want to see what the sort of active thing is with it, and if I can find some, I'll order some in, and because I don't throw anything away, so I have some crazy stuff, like a new old stock 6159 grandfather tuna strap, the extra long one for going over a heavy wetsuit, and it's in the bag and everything, and it's like a piece of, I can't even describe, it's like a piece of plastic. It's just like it bends a little bit, but I don't want to try it, so I'll try it on that.
Okay.
I think I answered both parts of both questions.
I don't know. I was reading actually the next question, so I don't know what you said.
That's okay.
Okay. I was wrong. This isn't about lube. Tom N. Hi guys. Silicon is a metalloid element, while silicone is a polymeric silicon containing compound. I agree in that silicone is an impermeable material that's gone when it goes, think bathtub caulk. So what were we trying to say?
Well, he's telling us that silicon and silicone are two not completely different things.
Right, but what were we talking about that I remember last week?
Well, it was because we're still talking about trying to get some kind of, if there's any way to induce old hardened rubber to become super flexible again.
Oh, right.
You can do it. Like if you put those things in really hot water, they'll get real loose real quick. It's crazy. They'll get like noodly, but then they harden up again. That does not last. I would wonder though. I wonder if you cycled that repeatedly. I remember somebody before, when we were discussing this however long ago, talking about crystals building up, like crystal forms building up inside the rubber. And so you're getting a structure where it was supposed to be amorphous. So if you have a structure, how can you work that structure back out? Like if you got it hot and noodly and was just squished the heck out of it and worked it and worked it and worked it and worked it, and then let it cool down and then did it again and again and again. I wonder if you could break it up and smooth it out. What? Is it that I'm saying noodly?
Well, it made me think of what you told me that the gay guys used to say to you in San Francisco.
Oh my God.
And then you're talking about like
Oh, the noodling? Oh, it was, I lived in San Francisco for most of the 90s. And as every American school child knows, I was a beautiful young man. And so, despite the fact of being completely straight, I'm also not homophobic at all. And none of that stuff bothers me. And a lot of my gay friends told me all kinds of interesting things. But there was a saying I was introduced to by one gentleman who was attempting to convince me to reconsider my stance. I don't believe that sexuality is a choice. So that wasn't really going to work for me. And he said, I said, I'm really sorry, I'm straight. And he says, spaghetti is straight until you
cook it, boil it.
Until you boil it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then you were saying noodles, and I was like thinking of that, and then you're talking about like.
It was a different world back then, man. It was a different world. Any case, fun times.
Okay. Bruce Barlow, I agree. Vintage Seiko prices have gone crazy.
Yeah, they have. In a way, well, I've got a lot of gall to say that it kind of makes me sad, but I think that the popularization of Seiko and talking about how great they were and models, a lot of people are doing that, and it drives up prices, just like in the old days.
Yeah, I was looking up the value of 6105s of the Willard, and it was like 10 years ago. One sold for, I think, like $305.
Yeah, absolutely. When my very first 6105, 8000, birth year, birth month. In a way, we actually still have that watch. But in any case, what in the heck was I talking about? Oh, I paid $300 for it. And the guys were like, you're insane.
Maybe that was the one I saw.
Yeah, you're insane. Somebody saw you coming. They got a good deal. I mean, 6159s are worth ridiculous amounts of money now. Our old friend Jonathan Koch, he talked about, going through the 90s and the early aughts, and he said nobody wanted them. They big, ugly, heavy things. You could get them for nothing. What was another one? Oh, this one, diddly bop dude that I know, he was talking to me once, this was a long time ago, and he was like, no non-SUA 6309 will ever be worth $300. But, at that time, you could get a 6309 for like $150.
What made people suddenly be like, well, I get with the Willard, but like what made people go, wow, these are so freaking cool?
Well, it's received wisdom. People talk to other people, and there are watch collectors, and, people love finding something, obscure, something like that. Like when I first discovered Seiko and I saw a 6309 diver on the wrist of this dude whom I did not know, I was just like instantly captivated by it. It was just like, circles within circles within circles. And I just thought it was fantastic. And it was easy to get into because there were a lot of them. And, real watch guys, were like, Audemars Piguet, or however you say it, Zenith, Omega was considered mid-range, and which is ridiculous. I love Omega. But, they're the ones who they were like the serious collectors, the guys who came and they drove up all the prices in the vintage Rolex thing. I mean, like around the year like 2000 or later, eBay came around in like 97, 98. I got on eBay, I think in 2000,
Yeah, I think so.
something like that. And it was, at that time, you could apparently buy things like, a Rolex 1680 red text for $500.
Wow.
And so those guys went nuts on all the vintage. And so they started buying and buying because it was like, those boomers buying up all the vintage motorcycles, and making
The guitars.
and the guitars and the Volkswagen Beetles, and making everything super expensive. So they did that with Rolex. And then they started doing that when Rolex got too expensive. The other brands got too expensive. They then moved on to Swiss chronographs, but the the 60s, 70s ones, the Heuer Pasadena and stuff like that. Those kind of big mechanical chronographs were again apparently worth nothing. Lou Brown, who we were just talking the other day, he was one of the really good restoration guys back in the day. He's retired. He doesn't do it anymore. But he said, we were talking about it, and he says, I have a sea chest, and I bet it's got 500 chronographs in it. And he says, I would just see him and I buy them. You see him and I buy them. I'm like, what are you going to do? He says, what do you do with a Foot Locker full of 500 chronograph watches?
Yeah, you got off track though.
I did. No, I was just talking about the fact, I'm illustrating the fact that those were not considered valuable at all. I mean, enough that he was able to accumulate 500 of the damn things. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, you can't get them for love or money. A Heuer Ativa or, any of that stuff, they're just ridiculous. They're untouchable. And so, coming around to the final point, then they moved on to Seiko because they started noticing and people were starting looking for stuff that was, vintage and affordable and cool. And they discovered Seiko. And then people start looking for anything to sort of make a watch unique and special. And movie watches are a thing. I mean, people have been thinking about that for a long time. And then, that's where, in my mind, it started.
Yeah, well, I got this image of all these guys being like a swarm of bugs. And then they get bored and they all go together.
Well, I tell you, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it used to be, you get a nice 6105 and you're like, oh, this is cool. And you can redo it and and make it look good and you can wear it and it looks awesome and it's not too expensive. You don't have to worry about it. But now we're getting to the point that they're investments and people buy investments for different reasons. And the chances are they're just going into a safe. And that's, that's unfortunate. But, there's a lot of 7546s and 7548s out in the world. And there's a lot of 6309 watches that have 6309 movements in them, and one could certainly make one's own collectible watch.
Woo.
Woo. I wonder if I could ever do that. A list of instructions for weird parts that would go together and make a functional watch.
Yeah, but you would start it and never finish.
No, I know, it's true. So I'll record this one for posterity. I just discovered, actually two things. I discovered that the inserts in a new old stock 6105 8000 rotating ring, they were made together with the insert and the ring. I was looking at the insert super close last night, and I'm like, I looked at it really close. Normally I can tell. It has certain bevels and certain things. And then I was looking through all the inserts for this 6105 that we were working on. I went through every insert I had. And I realized that my criteria for what is genuine or not genuine when it comes to those 6105 inserts actually might be wrong. Because I had one that I had assumed for years was a repro because it really didn't have that inner bevel. And it was, I don't know, and it was pretty thick. But damned if it wasn't exactly like the one that's in that rotating ring. So I'm like, that's the great thing about new information. We learn new things.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Okay. Ivan Mejia Curious to hear your opinion on the text professional on Seiko divers. Omega divers also have them. Were there certain requirements for that word use on the dial similar to the word divers today? Vintage 7C43 had professional written on their dials and had no divers. These days, the new 300-meter tunas have them both. Maybe it was used for marketing purposes or a combination of both, depending on brand.
It's one of those things that when it's not really a thing. There's no, it doesn't mean anything. Professional. Professional what? I'm professional at putting on my shoes. I do it all the time. I'm good at it. What?
You.
No, I just think it's a marketing thing. But the Seiko, thing for really pushing depth limits on watches, when they came up with the 6159 was 300 meter, but then when they went to the 6159 grandfather tuna, that's when they finally had invented the L profile crystal gasket. And so those watches and those cases were literally designed to answer an inquiry from a guy who was a commercial diver, like an underwater welder. And he's like, I need a watch that's down there that I can 100% guarantee that it's going to be okay. So they made the first big dive watches with this L profile gasket. So instead of a gasket just being a round thing, it's sort of, around it or however the hell it works, L profile means the side of the crystal is sitting in this L like that, and so you have double protection on two sides, and what that does is it stops helium from getting into the watch. So you don't have to have a helium release valve or any of that kind of stuff. And so I think that's where they started calling it professional, because it was made for a professional person. Everything since then, I think, is just marketing.
Zev Goldman, you did an excellent job of rebuilding my 6106-8229 that I wore while on patrol in the Mekong Delta of South Vietnam.
Oh, yeah.
In some process, I lost the rotating bezel from the watch. Can you refer me to a source for a replacement bezel? I am out of options at this time.
Can you look that up? It's 6106-8229. I just, before I talk, I should probably do some research.
Oh, sorry, I should have told you.
No, it doesn't matter.
61.
Not the end of the world.
What is it?
Now I've forgotten. It's a 6106-8229.
Yeah. Doggy.
Oh, doggy. Hang on.
No, I don't want the calculator.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
Dead mouse on the floor over here.
Are you fucking... Ew, you stepped on it! When did she do that?
I don't know.
Gross. Ew.
Maybe I came in after tree digging and it was stuck to the bottom of my foot.
Oh, gross. Is that the dog brought it in?
I don't know.
Freaking God, I want to puke. Oh, it's one of these things.
Yeah, rally diver. Okay, strangely enough, I have a good number of those rotating rings. Not the complete ring, but like the outer part, right? I do have inserts, but they're all pretty beaten. But I do have them. I guess the thing is, how about this? Should I insert a thing?
Is that the mail?
Might be. How about this? What I'll do is I'll make and insert a little video, and I'll show those different rings. I can get them out. It's not a big deal. And I'll get out the inserts, and we can look at them. I don't know. We'll see if something works for you. I've had them for a long time. And, I don't, no watch repair person, worth their salt ever gets rid of anything. You keep everything. Because you never know. And plus you might know more later on, years down the road, and be able to fix things that you couldn't previously. Lord knows that's happened here. But yeah, let's break, and I'll do that for you. Okay. Isn't that right, Mr. Rocket? Yes. Okay, so I dug through all my stuff, and I found... Okay, so here are 3 empty rings. Now, the thing is, there are the early ones and the later ones. The early ones had a 6105 style spring retainer for the rotating rings, and they look like... Let's see, which one is this? Oh no, this is a regular one with an O-ring gasket, like a 60, like a gosh darn it, well, like a 6105, 8110, 6309. The only thing is it doesn't have the indexing, but it needs to be like that. Where's the other one? Whereas the earlier ones, all they have is just a little channel right here for that spring. So we need to ascertain if your watch is the early type or the late type. I have some inserts. I'm going through all my stuff. I haven't looked at these in a long time. Oh, I just had a Rally Diver explosion. And somebody polished that one to nothing. Now, also, depending on the model, sometimes they were blue and sometimes they were black. Like, this is a pretty nice looking, but it's super early. See, it's got the wire retainer and it's black. And I've never been a real knowledge person about the Rally Divers. So we're going to need to figure that out. Yeah, this is an early one with the retaining spring. So anyway, let's see if we can get something going. Also, do you remember, can you shoot me a photo of what your original one looked like? I think that would be helpful. Okay, let's see what we can do. Ooh, look what else I found. These are both for yacht masters. It's a yacht racing timer. Not one, but 2 of them. What's unfortunate is that this perfect ring does not fit on a 6105. It's heartbreaking because it's almost perfect. Oh, and I found one more that was super cool. Where is it? Actually, I found 2 different things. And there's that. Where's the other one? Do I have it? Is it in a bag somewhere? Did I put it away? Oh, here it is. This is a rotating ring for one of Seiko's, the first of the sport divers they ever made in the 60s. And this is an insert for one of the very last ones. That's kind of a nice bookend. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you never throw anything away. For example, tell them how hacked up this insert was.
Very.
Like, literally hacked up. Like, it was in a watch that got smashed. And I've had it for a really, really, really long time. And it was really, really... I don't even know why I kept it. I mean, it was original, but it was just junk. But then I looked at it last night, and I have a Parts Willard right here. Kind of like a Parts Caster, but it's a Parts Willard. It is by no means original. But I found this thing when I was looking through all the other inserts for that other 6105, just to compare and contrast for the persons. And I found this one, and I'm like, that's not bad. And not only that, that enamel that I've been using now can be, I can basically get it to sit in these things, and then I can polish it down, and and it looks pretty good. I also had to recreate the loom pip because the loom pip was missing, but I have a new technique to do that, and it worked. It worked. So anyway, you would not believe how hacked up that insert was.
Well, you should.
You can still see
pictures of things.
I know. It didn't occur to me that it was going to turn out so nice. Anyway, so that's great. Yeah, this is my Parts Willard. It's got it's a genuine Seiko diver case back that Jonathan Koch just took all the extra off. It's got a magnetic shield on the inside though, so it's from a 7548.
Wait, why did he take everything off?
Because he just thought it was neat. Jonathan loved modding watches. He was not a stock watch guy. Everything he did was heavily modified. It was just his thing. So I keep this, and whenever I build a sort of a parts watch, there's some case backs that I transfer around, and this is one of them. Someday it's going to find a home that'll live on forever. I don't know when that's going to be, but we'll try.
Okay.
Okay.
2500 MSUB. So this is a kind of like a thing for people who, it's more for them than for you.
Oh, really? Oh.
Old Citizen Aqualands can be repaired at Hurley Roberts in Georgia. They are an authorized citizen service center, and unlike Citizen, they will work and repair old Aqualands. I have had 2 old Aqualands serviced by them. One, the analog portion had stopped working, and it's good now.
That's great. I'm so glad that people are around that'll fix the damn things. I wish, like Citizen. Like 70s Citizen, man, like Seiko, they were doing some crazy stuff. And one of the things that Citizen had was all these really early, like super multifunction, multi-part LCD watches. With like temperature, all these different gauges, quite complex, really cool. And they're always water damaged or battery corrosive damaged. And they almost never work. Because you can't get the parts. It'd be great if somebody could restore those. Because that's something, man. Those, high-end 70s LCD and early LCD quartz watches, beautiful quality. And they're also worth looking at. We just have to make a collector base.
Time to start from ground up.
I guess so. Well, the thing is it's utterly genuine. I mean, there's so much that it's interesting about those. There's so much to do, to research. There's all the kind of stuff to figure out. Like, I don't know. There's some really neat stuff to do. Just got to start digging in the catalogs. That's what people should do. You can go on Google or whatever, DuckDuckGo. And you can go to, you got the SeikoGuy.com. I'll push him again. But go back and look through all the Seiko catalogs. He has them scanned in color. And you can go back and you can look at these things and see what they were supposed to look like when they were new. And then you can start maybe formulating a plan. See a model that you like and start hunting for it. Like there's a 5126 that I really want. It was JDM, but it has like a cross between like a 62 MAS dial kind of and a 6105 dial. They're cool. They're really cool. I've had other closely related models, but never that one. That's, those sport divers, they were really valuable for a while. Years ago, and then they just dropped off.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I really like them, like the 6106 and 6119 70-meter UFO sport divers. They're
really cool.
They're cool, and I was looking through my collection of unrestored sports divers, and I'm like, these are some really cool watches, and you can get them for not a lot of money. And they're beautiful, and the 5126 movements are great. They can be dialed in really, really tight. They have a Swiss-style reverser gear winding assembly, which means the whole stack is lower.
Sounds like you should restore one.
I have a few, actually. I was looking at them, and I'm like, these are really cool.
What crystal goes in them?
I'm going to have to remember. Actually, I think those actually take like a Type 2.
Oh.
Like a Type 2 or Type 3. It's one of those weird things where Diney used a crystal from Sua. It did happen.
Okay. Jeff 117. Did they invite the entire city?
Oh, when we had the door open and people were driving by. No. He's talking about the wedding.
The wedding?
Yeah, my great-grandmother's 1,800-person wedding.
I thought he was complaining about that we don't have the microphone thing.
Where do you find 1,800 people to invite?
And it was in Stockbridge?
And it was in it wasn't. It was Rensselaer. No.
Rensselaer?
Something like that, New York.
Uh-huh.
Where's that?
It's up by Syracuse.
No, they were down on like, it was somewhere further down south because they had that big house in Dongan Hills in Staten Island. So it was somewhere New York. It was not out in Stockbridge. But 1,800 people. What's the point? I mean, nobody has 1,800 friends.
Nope.
Even at my height, I'd be amazed if I had a friend group that exceeded 10, 15 guys at the most. I mean, I knew other people, but 1,800 people, you'd have to be stapling flyers to street corners. A little tear-off thing. You know, make sure to wear...
Make it seem like she was a princess.
She certainly believed that she was. She was, in her own way, an American princess, simply in terms of how she was treated and how much money she had. I don't think she was a princess in any other way. Sort of an evil stepmother, except she was the evil mother. She was, by all accounts that I have ever heard from anybody in the family who knew her, she was, by all of those accounts, a terrible person.
Anyway, was that the mail?
Maybe.
No, I think it's someone using a chainsaw.
Or a snowblower.
There's no snow. Except for in our driveway. I can't even go outside in my clogs. Because it's all snowy.
I forgot we were supposed to shovel after snow.
Yeah, I'm surprised the city hasn't yelled at us yet.
You know, screw them. No, I should have done that, and I will.
So, okay. This is from the video about the 08435010.
I tell you. In fact, I'm going to insert a little video that I took of that watch today because we're packing it up. It's packed up. We're waiting for the mail. So
yeah, that's why I keep being like, oh my God, is that the mail?
So, but I did take a little video before I let it go. So I'm going to insert that right here. It's you know, people look at it and they see a quartz watch and they're like, it's a quartz watch. It's exquisite. It's beautifully made. And that's one of the best models of them. It's really awesome. My only complaint about JDM though, it does bring this up. What is the deal with JDM watches almost never being loomed? Why is that? Does anybody know? Because my watches I have to be able to read them at night. And so I just don't own a lot of the JDM models because they don't have loom. So if anybody knows, please let me know.
Okay. Bruce Barlow. Spencer, that's a great looking watch indeed. I would go with bracelet number 3. Oh, I don't even know what happened with that.
Oh no, we made a choice with that. We figured that whole thing out. This was that watch.
No, I know. It's just I didn't watch that. I don't know what the options.
I gave him, well, first was he had the bracelet that came on these was like that really flat, shimmery, like almost like a it almost looked like fish skin, sort of. That was very similar to the one for the 0634s, their first LCDs, which were extraordinarily expensive. So that one with the watch, I had to modify it, and it fits. It came with the watch. He actually chose bracelet number 2, and so I fitted that to it, and you know, it's going to look great.
Okay. Well, anyway, the rest of it. This watch is similar to my 6923 5000 from 1982 and has its original clip-together bracelet with black painted inserts between the links. My most accurate quartz in my collection.
I tell you, you never know. You never know about accuracy. I brought out show and tell. Where are you? So, wait. Do I have the right one or the wrong one? The dog's can have an aneurysm.
Yeah, but then he just comes out here and whines because he wants your chair. They don't want to look at the dog. They want to look at you.
Oh, is that the deal? Mm-hmm. Okay, so talk about accidental accuracy, right? Great timing. So I bought this thing 6-7 months ago.
I don't know.
This is Seiko's like fastest chronograph. It has it can go 1/20th a second with the double register up on top. These are really, really, really cool. I set this with a new battery. I haven't serviced it yet because the top register is not working, but I did set it and made sure it was clean and everything else like that. It is to the second. I haven't touched this watch since before daylight savings, but months and months and months before that. It is literally, except for the daylight savings change, it is to the second. Sorry, it's upside down. I was super impressed. So, maybe Seiko knew what they were doing.
All right.
Oh, what was the first part of that?
Oh, nothing. He was just saying it's similar to his 6923.
Oh, 6923s, by the way, another completely underrated movement. They're not worth really anything. Really, they're not. But the 6923 movements are actually pretty good. Just like you look at like the 8229s or the 8... There's some of those quartz movements that are astonishingly nice, and nobody knows about them.
Okay.
The dog is going to have a fit.
Well, then let him in.
But then he's going to stare at me and want my chair.
Yes.
Oh, well, sorry about the dog whining.
Aaron Dennis, what is the number on that crystal? I have a 5206 5060 LM special that has a crystal that looks exactly the same. It took me like 2 weeks to find the crystal. I could only find it in Japan, and it didn't even have a crystal number on it. It had what watches it went to, which was an 0822 5010, an 0824.
0842.
I think I wrote it wrong.
No. 0843, 0842, 0822, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, those are the three.
Yeah, so that crystal only goes to 3 watches, and I could only find one
crystal
in the entire world.
I couldn't find the number. I looked. Jules Brill database doesn't have anything for it. I was looking. There's that one German website, or is it Cousins? You go to, and it's there's ramped another bunch of other places, but I can't find the information. If somebody has the watch parts exchange guide, the casing guide for from Seiko for anywhere past 1976 up to the early 80s, that would actually contain both the bracelet number and the crystal number. But man, crystals are hard to find.
Okay, now we're on to the 6105 video from Malik Martin. Timeless piece of history. Spencer, I have learned a lot about watches and Seiko's history and horology from you, such that I no longer purchase mainstream Seikos like Turtle Sumos, SKX, etc. Instead, I am now hunting for vintage Seikos, and I find that journey to be so fulfilling and rewarding.
There's just, they never gave up, and there's so much stuff out there to look at. The 5126 watches, they were mostly dress watches, but they had some cool JDM pieces, Anakin, some sport divers. 5206s, things, those tend to be really expensive and wacky looking, but the movement's really nice, really, really nice. That was they're like chronometer grade. The 5600, there are some beautiful, beautiful models. The problem with them is that the date correction can screw up because the plastic date finger ring won't snap because of a plastic materials issue. But you can buy new ones from Adrian at Vintage Time Australia. So yeah, there's a lot of great stuff out there. So much stuff to find in research. Again, go and look at all the Seiko catalogs. You're going to find some fun things.
From Steve Moore. Awesome piece, Spencer. As an owner of one of your Super 6105s, I can't recommend your work enough.
Thank you.
It's a fabulous piece of history.
I really appreciate that, Steve. I really do. I really, really do. It's fun building these things. It is. I mean, because like I said, this is parts. This was all parts. This was never one watch. I built this. I found the case, mid case. And then Dial on Hands came in from somewhere. Somebody else reloomed them. It's an old job, but it's really nicely done visually, very clean and even. And it glows like a maniac, which is nice. I can read this all night. So it's fun, You get to build a watch and make something new, something unique. So what are you thinking? How many more questions? Are there more?
Yes.
Oh, there are more.
Ian Rossiter. You help.
You mean Ian?
No, it says IAIN.
Oh, I think that's a weird spelling. Sorry, not weird. That is a non-American spelling of
Okay.
Ian.
Okay, well, it's Ian then.
Unless, of course, I'm wrong.
I don't know. You helped me appreciate the magnificent history of the Willard, and I've been lucky to own a very good example for the last 3 years, the favorite in my collection.
They're just beautiful. They're beautiful. They're gripping. There's nothing else that looks like them. You know, you got that, you know, the fantastic ergonomics of the case, you know, with these sides that flow up. The beautiful asymmetry of it with that, you know, with that crown protector. I remember when I was first getting into Seikos all those years ago, you know, after seeing that 6309, I remember I was looking through eBay and I didn't know anything. What?
Somebody let him out. Now he's at the back door.
I don't know what to tell you. Well, you know, I'm just going to glare at him and make him go sit over there.
Did I drop something?
Oh, some watches.
Oh.
But they don't belong to anyone except me. Okay, I got them. No big deal. What the heck was I talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, these things. I can remember the feeling of what it was. I can remember like looking at the big computer screen, eBay, and all the different ones that were coming up, and I was looking at them, and I don't know, there was just something gripping about it because it was such a beautiful piece of industrial design, but it also was purposeful. It was made for a thing, to do a thing, and it was not a fashion watch. And I just thought they were beautiful, but I mean, the first one I started bidding on was nice. I can remember seeing it. It was from Hawaii, if I remember correctly, but I did a East Night high bid of $175, but it went over $300. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't afford that. I didn't know these things were so collectible. I really didn't. And I clearly remember basically writing them off in my head, saying, it's nothing that I'm ever going to afford. They're cool, but I don't even know how many I've owned. I literally don't. 30, 40, 50? I have no idea.
I'll never have a blank.
Oh, a gold pogue. Yeah, a true pogue. By the way, I always like to brag. I am the person who came up with true pogue. That was me. I'm the person who did the first full identification of what made a pogue. I'm the first person to have done that. So anytime I see anything that says true pogue, I feel a little warm. You know, I will have a degree of semi-immortality, but unless I keep bragging, no one will ever know. Yep, I did that when we were still living at the old house. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we're at email questions. So this one's from Kelly Harvester. Just a quick question regarding a couple of Seiko Monacos I am considering purchasing. I am an amateur collector and am not familiar with the pitfalls of the Seiko 7016, so I'm wondering if you could give me some insight into what to look for before buying. Both are missing the original bracelets, so value is somewhat reduced. Barring anything major, are these still repairable? One is a 5020 and the other is a 5001.
Yeah, the 5000, I looked at those because you sent me those links. The 5001 is one of the gold-plated ones. It's like gold and brown and golden markings and things. The thing with these divers, those they were mostly sold in areas of the world that were pretty hot and humid, and so they tended to get pretty beaten and pretty water stained. Unfortunately, the 7000 series movements rust like maniacs. So what you've got to do is you've got to find one that did not live in that environment. I would, as much as possible, try to keep to, watches that you can see are unrestored, that somebody has not gone through and taken beautiful pictures of, but unrestored. And that you can look through the scratched dirty crystal in the dirty case, and you can see white lume, clean white lume, That's the kind of watch you want to get, you want to start with. The other model, the true Monaco that you had there, it doesn't look bad. It looks like, though, I mean, somebody has definitely worked on it. The handset has been replaced, but they're a contemporary design that was used by Dining all the time back then, and it literally could have been service hands. And I thought about that when I saw those hands, those Donfi hands with the stripe of loom. I was like, oh, those are the wrong hands. And then I was looking at them real close. I'm like, those are perfect condition, like 7005 dress watch hands. Like, so it could be. Take the case back off, and you might see a stamp in there that says, S2, which is one of the service centers. Big thing is if you see for sure that it's water damaged inside, even like stained or discolored, unless it's really cheap, stay away from it.
Okay, well, you should make sure to send this video to that person in the email.
Ah, yes, okay.
Okay, last one. Paul Setzer. Hey, Spencer.
Oh, hey, Paul Setzer.
Just watched your short video on that 6138 you serviced. I just got this 736138 0017 last week. Before I pulled the trigger, I watched one of your old long videos on servicing one. This version has been one I've wanted for a long time. I got a good deal on it, and it looks completely original as far as I can tell from the outside. I haven't opened it up yet, as it's keeping great time and seems to operate smoothly. The buttons are a little sticky though.
That's a good thing.
So I'll eventually investigate that and open it up. Have a great day. Hope Sabrina and the kids are doing well. Always enjoy your Friday videos. This is why I put it there. And one day I hope you'll answer one of my questions if I submit one. Well, you didn't ask a question, but I just thought that was funny. P.S. Show some more guitars.
Well, I got a Gibson, not a Gibson. You're the guy who does Gibson stuff. This is a recreation of a 68 Telecaster that I put together from parts with a genuine Bigsby floating bridge marked for Fender. It's a parts telly, but it's an American neck. I even have the warranty card for it. But I had a nice time putting it together. I'm not happy with the lipstick pickup. I've never liked them. But anyway, so I made it like a 68 telly. And I thought that was pretty cool. Paul Setzer he's a cool dude, and he's a vintage guy for Gibsons and other. I'm not exactly sure. There are a number of models he works for, but his big thing is making the correct pick guards.
Oh.
The actual correct, exactly as they're supposed to be. And so it's a really cool sort of niche thing. And so he and I talk on and off, and that's pretty cool. What was the second part of his question?
Well, it wasn't even a question. It was
no, what was the second part of him saying things? There were two things I was going to say.
He was talking about a watch.
61, yeah, the Yachtman. 6138s are great watches. And Yachtman, they are, for some reason, they were super collectible for a while, but then they kind of fell off. And if you know what you're looking for, and you can still get Yachtman for not a lot of money. Usual thing, though, is you want them to be unrestored. You want them to be original with scratch crystal and dirty case. And sticky buttons. Why do we like sticky buttons? Sticky buttons mean that the original gaskets are still in the buttons and they have turned up rock hard plastic, which means no one has messed with it. And that's what you want. That's what you want. That's a watch that, and if it has clean white loom, that is a watch that sat in someone's sock drawer for a long time. And that's what you want. Again, you never want to get one that's restored or has like beautiful pictures. Look for one that's got unfaded orange on the dial. The sweep orange sweeps tend to fade, so if those are like a lighter yellow or even faded to white, as long as it's the original sweep, they can be retinted to the right color. But if it's original, that's great. You look for that clean loom, and you just try to make it go. They're underappreciated, those UFOs. Mm-hmm. They really, really are. Oh, but he asked me. Oh, yeah. So anyway, you're going to have to do a case rebuild with all new seals. Basically, you're going to have to take the whole case apart. You don't have to get rid of the crystal gasket. It's made of Viton. Per Seiko's instructions, you can just rinse it in alcohol, let it air dry. I put a super light coating grease on it, super light. People say you're not supposed to. It makes, I'm talking like super light, it makes installing the crystals way easier. And I'm happy with it. So you can just rinse that in alcohol and reuse it unless it's physically damaged. The rest of them are going to have to go. But that's it. All right, Mr. Setzer and everybody else.
That's it.
That's it. Ain't no more. And so we are done. Mr. Rocket, are we done? Are we done? I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving.
Yep.
All around the world, children singing Thanksgiving songs, dressing up as turkeys. Absolutely. Turkey slinging contests. Everywhere, honey, around the globe.
Around the globe.
Yep. With the great turkey going around the planet, giving drumsticks to all the good children.
Whatever.
Do you know what bad children get? Overcooked turkey liver.
Ew, I thought you were going to say overcooked Brussels sprouts.
Oh man, I love Brussels sprouts.
Overcooked?
Well, depends how overcooked. They're supposed to be steamed. But I mean, grilled, they're actually really good. She doesn't like, people don't appreciate it, you know? Brussels sprouts, they're awesome. They're one of the greatest members of that Brassica family.
The fart-inducing?
Yep, the fart-inducing ones. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now we're gone. Bye, people. Bye. Talking about those sport divers, those UFOs. So I have a lot of them sitting around. This one, I don't even know how long I've had this for. I remember, though, when this came in, I was like, ugh, this thing's junk. It's so beat up. But I'm looking at it now, I'm like, that ain't bad. See, I've let this sit for so long. I have the material and the knowledge now to potentially save that dial loom. I think the hand loom is gone, but I have others of that handset, and the sweep is faded, but I can tint that down. The rest of the dial actually looks pretty good. The case is rough. This is not a happy watch, but it's probably hasn't been moved for a long time. Now, I have better cases. I have some cases that are really super nice. I bet you we could make this watch look really fantastic. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe that's a good idea, because I've wanted an excuse to rebuild this watch. I also have an orange one, too. Yeah, I've got some great ones. Yeah, oh, let's see. No, that's a 6117. No, that's a 6106 7107 case. Wait, do I have one? Okay. See, it looks like most of the ones I have are that for the 6107, that one right there. It's got like not fully hooded lugs. Fully hooded lugs. Well, it looks pretty beat up. And the case lines are roasted. Oh, this one's even worse. I'd almost say they're about the same. Bottom one might have a little bit more brushing. And this one's just roasted. Not a thing I can do with that. Well, maybe. We'll see. See if I can clean this up. Look at that, it's a runner. Okay.